The most effective leaders have incredible mentors who help them to learn and develop through the highs and lows of leadership. Dr. Jaffer, the CEO of Trek Dental, in our next episode of the Flourishing Workplace podcast, takes us on his journey of leadership mentors and how they have improved every area of his leadership. Let's check it out together. We'll see you there. You're listening to the Flourishing Workplace podcast, a movement to reimagine work brought to you by thought leaders and industry professionals. Discover how to create cultures where people belong, grow, and contribute fully. At Flourishing Workplace, we're changing the world by changing the workplace. Well, welcome back, everybody, to our next episode of the Flourishing Workplace podcast. So grateful to have with us for one final episode, Dr. Jaffer with Trek Dental. Hi, Dr. Jan.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for being back. And we've been having a great conversation around workplace mental health, leadership development, the reason why we're doing all of these things, even gotten into gratitude a little bit. Dr. Jan, I mean, there's no doubt that you are very successful at what you do. And I don't mean that in such a way as like plastic sort of Photoshop. I mean, you genuinely are living a life where you're seeking to be authentic to your values and how you're operating in your team with integrity. Who have been some of the mentors for you in leadership, and maybe some of the things that you've learned from them? And when I think of mentors, there's a lot of people who are mentoring me who don't even know my name. Yeah. They're mentoring me from a distance through podcasts and through books and through lectures, etc. Yeah. So how about for yourself?
I mean, I guess the cliche, but it still resonates with me a lot is mom and dad. So dad was a dentist. I joined him. He was a dentist for a number of years before I joined him as a dentist. And then interestingly enough, my mom was actually the office manager running the practice. She's also a dental assistant. And so, what I was able to learn, dad was clinically very skilled, great with talking to patients, and mom ran the business. And so where I was lucky is I was able to distill a little bit of both and then take, a single office. And now we've grown it to a number of different offices. Wonderful. But you need two skill sets. And especially in dentistry, you need to be a good dentist. But what a lot of people don't realize is we're also the CEOs of our own businesses. Right. And it's hard to run a business when you're also the main provider of the business. And so trying to balance that out, learning from mom and learning from dad ultimately was, the starting point of all of this. And then as you get into other things like, we can talk about books or podcasts. And I'm a big Simon Sinek fan, the Start With Why piece. And also, some of the books that I've found foundational to me is like, Good to Great, Jim Collins, and this book Drive by Daniel Pink, talking about how we motivate people, right? And so to me, when I put those together and people say, where do you want to start? That's where I want to start. Yeah. Right now I'm reading some interesting stuff. Unreasonable Hospitality has actually been a really interesting book to read. Yeah. But how we can make sure that we're doing better for our people, because it's interesting that they talk about not only serving their clients, but again, serving their team. And again, something we've already had in some of these past podcasts are how do we serve our team better? Right. Because again, if you take care of your team will take care of the client. And we truly believe that. Yeah. The team is actually more important than the client. And now those people out there saying, client comes first. We don't believe that. A client is very important. We don't have a business without clients. But if our team is not healthy and happy every single day, they're there 200, 300 days a year. Our clients come in for a couple of hours a year. And so we really need to make sure that we're starting with the team first.
Yeah. And, that's true across all industries, right? We have to take care of the people who are taking care of the people or taking care of the work. And if we don't do that, it won't last. Sometimes leaders find themselves so busy that they at least tell themselves a story that they can't invest in their personal or professional development. I think it's different for you. And so tell us a little bit about why it is that leaders should invest in their ongoing sort of continuous improvement as business leaders.
Yeah, I think that things change over time too, right? And we were, had a meeting just earlier today with some of our team leads, and, the people that we're serving are different, right? Our new employees that are coming in at 18, 20, 22, 23, they're different than, what 20 was, a decade or two ago, or, our baby boomers that are there. And so trying to figure out how to work with these people. And I think, one of the interesting things that's coming out these days, and it's a topic that, you can't have a conversation without AI coming into, a conversation. Yeah. how is that going to change the way that we do things, whether it's inside dentistry or outside of dentistry? And it's changing every industry.
Right.
And how do we make sure that people are still thinking, but taking advantage of what's going on? Because it's not going to go away, right? And how do we make sure that we have good people that care about people, but ultimately try to figure out how to use technology to the best of their ability?
Absolutely. And so on that note, and I think it's a wonderful kind of segue into, the conversation on AI and all of that. Like, what do you see, pulling out your crystal ball, is the future of work and AI and how that's going to be impacting all of us in our respective industries?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, again, these jobs will change, right? And so when you look at like simple bookkeeping or simple accounting, like AI can already do that for you. You're not going to need that. Even writing some SOPs and stuff like that, like you can put that information in. So now your ability to think at a higher level is going to be more important. And so I don't think, people always worry that they're going to lose jobs. When the internet came along, we're going to lose jobs. I don't think we're going to lose jobs. Jobs are just going to change.
That's right.
And you're going to have to make sure that you can pivot with that and use technology again to the best of your ability. And so to me, learning these technologies, using them, and I'm not saying that I'm good at it because I'm definitely new on the, learning how to use AI. We're using it inside our practices, which is actually quite interesting. But on like a personal basis, trying to take more advantage of figuring out where it can save me time so that, again, you can go back and you can spend more time on yourself or your family or your well-being. Because if we can cut out some of these mundane tasks that we do, it's just funny when I have the conversation with my wife, it's like, well, AI is like able to like create pictures and drawings and the rest. And she's like, those are the things I want to do.
Right.
Can it take care of my laundry and my dishes? Because that would make it much more useful, right?
Absolutely.
So it's a funny one because it's like, I want to do the drawing. I don't want it to create the picture for me. But.
Absolutely. I love that. And in talking about AI, so how are you utilizing that in your in your business right now?
So we're one of the first set of practices really in North America that's brought in AI for x-rays.
Okay.
So if you come into our offices, obviously dentists are supposed to read x-rays, hygienists are supposed to read x-rays, but we actually have AI also read our x-rays.
Okay.
And when people are like, well, do I trust it? Do I not trust it? Like, what's the thing? It's like, well, it's 10,000 dentists and I'm one. And so I'm still going to look at it, but it's going to give me a second set, but not really a second set, a second 1,000 sets of eyes to make sure that nothing is missed. Because we're human beings ultimately, and we're going to miss things and things get busy and there's lots happening in an office. And, you might be, don't want to say this, but distracted or something's happening.
Of course.
And so, you want to make sure that we're not making mistakes. And again, dentists, doctors, nobody's trying to make a mistake, but there's a human aspect of it. So this AI is helping us. And here's the unfortunate part about it, or the fortunate part about it is what they're seeing in dentistry, at least, is that patients are actually more willing to trust the AI diagnosis than the dentist.
Okay.
And it's hard for, let's say, senior docs, older docs, to figure that out, because when you bring it in, and I've heard this 'cause I'm getting to lecture on it a fair amount, people are like, hey, I've done this for 30 years. Like I can see what's going on. And that's such an ego piece. And one of the things that bothers me in life is when people think that they're better.
Yeah.
AI is better than you. It's unfortunate, but it's going to do things faster. It's going to compute faster. It's going to read x-rays better than you are. So use it to your advantage and make sure that you're then taking the AI and putting it with the patient's data to make it make sense. Well, what am I seeing in the mouth with what am I seeing with the AI saying on the x-rays, and take their medical history into account. And that's where you get to be the dentist and say, hey, although I see a problem, this is not a big problem for you. Or, hey, I see a problem that's starting. This is a bigger deal for you because of all these other health factors that come into it.
It's brilliant.
And that's where we become the dentist and the practitioner that puts it all together.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of, for me as a writer, and I'm an experienced writer, I've written several bestsellers, but the truth is spell check is quite helpful. So it's almost like spell check for dentists, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's not taking the writing over for you.
Yeah.
But if I've missed something, just as a writer, I certainly would want to know. And I couldn't imagine as a dentist, not wanting to have just that check, right? It doesn't, you're still the one who delivers the news to the patient, right? Interesting. I saw that Harvard had done some research and they discovered that the number one reason people are going to generative AI today is for therapy and companionship.
I saw that too. I thought that was really quite interesting. I was
crazy,
like, that's a weird place to find it.
It's crazy, but kind of cool. And so when you talk about the trust that people have in that diagnosis through AI, it sort of makes sense because that's where people are going. So, Dr. Jan, this has been an unbelievably brilliant set of conversations. We've had Dr. Jan now for 4 episodes, and we're so grateful to you. So, how could somebody get a hold of you or learn more about what you're doing or Trek Dental?
Yeah. So if you want to find me, Instagram, Dr. Trek, LinkedIn, Jan Jaffer, or if you want to learn a little bit more about Trek, our website, trekdental.com is usually the best way to do it.
Yeah. And honestly, folks, I can't say enough about Dr. Jan. Any final tips for leaders around any of the topics we've talked about?
I mean, I'm always going to go back to, start with gratitude.
Yeah.
We need to be thankful for what we have and then help others. So if we can be grateful, we can be socially responsible, and we can give back. And if we can all do just a little bit more, this world will be a better place.
Love that so much. Well, hey, everybody, that's Dr. Jan Jaffer with Trek Dental. And of course, I'm A. Brown with Flourishing Workplace. We're so grateful that you've joined us. And of course, make sure you tune into our next episode. We're going to be talking with another business leader about how you can create workplaces that thrive at Flourishing Workplace. Our mission is changing the world by changing the workplace. And thanks for contributing to this conversation today.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. The movement for better workplaces starts with one action, yours. Thank you for listening to the Flourishing Workplace podcast, and keep thriving. At Flourishing Workplace, we're changing the world by changing the workplace.